sorry.
You are here for the cleaning? These can all go too.
What's wrong with these?
Ahmed doesn't wear them. Did you convert when you married?
Back then, I did something for my husband that no one else could.
Ahmed and I, we are not married. He has a wife in the UK. How can you share knowingly? We all break the rules we set for ourselves.
I need you to listen.
Why did you come here? Where is Ahmed? Who are you?
Combien de prisonniers sont passés par le camp?
Entre 25 et 30 000. Tous les noms sont inscrits dans les registres du camp.
Ils t'ont attrapé où?
En allant en Suisse.
On aurait dû passer par l'Italie.
Tu le sors d'où, ce livre?
Le propriétaire. Ils l'ont abandonné derrière eux quand ils se sont enfuis.
C'est qui, papa?
Ça veut dire papa en persan.
Wir haben einen Perser gefunden.
Woher wissen Sie, dass er ein echter Perser ist?
So, das hat er gesagt.
Natürlich hat er das. Und wenn er lügt? Was ist das? Baff, Baff.
Heißt Vater in meiner Sprache.
Wie heißt die Hauptstadt von Persien?
Teheran.
Was heißt Mutter?
Mutter. Hunter.
Mehr als alles auf der Welt hasse ich Lügen. Ja. Wenn du lügst, dann wirst du das bereuen. Nach der Arbeit kommst du jeden Tag zu mir und bringst mir deine Sprache bei.
Brot. Ratsch. Fleisch. Gamka.
Nach dem Krieg will ich nach Teheran. Ich möchte dort ein deutsches Restaurant eröffnen.
Farsi ist eine schwere Sprache.
Übersetzen wir diese 40 Wörter in Farsi.
Das sind nur 39 Wörter.
Schreib eins dazu.
Welches?
Wie wär's mit Wahrheit?
Dieser Gefangene, der betrügt Sie.
Je suis censé inventer 40 mots dans une langue que je ne connais pas. Les inventer, c'est pas le plus difficile, mais les retenir après, c'est impossible. Brot. Ratsch.
Ratsch.
Ratsch. Wie viele Wörter hast du bisher schon gelernt?
1500 Wörter.
Lass uns sprechen.
Ich habe ein Gedicht verfasst. Lom, Gatrun, Fab.
Es hat mir sehr gefallen, Herr Hauptschirmführer.
Sag Klaus zu mir.
Ich würde ihn ja einfach umbringen.
Was ist, wenn er abhaut?
Nee, das hat noch keiner geschafft.
Wo ist der?
Gefangener Resatun! An seiner Stelle warst du bereit, mit diesem Haufen Namenloser zu sterben?
Sie sind nur namenlos, weil du ihren Namen nicht kennst. Aber sie sind kein bisschen schlechter als du. Wenigstens sind sie keine Mörder.
Ich bin kein Mörder.
Du sorgst dafür, dass die Mörder gut speisen. Ich bin nur müde.
Wovon?
Von der Angst.
Hi, I'm your dog walker, Akanksha.
Is it a cock shot?
Oh, it's pronounced Akanksha. Just think of a conch shell.
The app said you were Indian.
I was born there, and then I actually grew up in Saudi Arabia, and then I moved here.
You didn't have an accent, so I just got a little nervous for a second, but that's great.
My sister's coming to visit me, and I haven't seen her in a really long time.
Where is she?
She lives in India.
I really just wanted to take him with us to India. It's just so far away. I mean, it's like across the entire world, and he's gonna be here all by himself. But I've seen some people do it. I think George Clooney did something like that.
Maybe you can give him some of the cultural experience, but he'll be missing out on.
Yeah, that's what we're really hoping.
Yeah.
Some people just adore martinis. Others love iced tea. In Venice, they all go for Bellinis. But coffee, that's for me. I've tasted every kind of brew at every coffee shop. Some were good and some were great, but this one was the top. There was nothing like the coffee at the automat. Its aroma and its flavor were supreme. From a silver dolphin spout, the coffee poured right out. Not to mention, at the end, a little spurt of cream. There was nothing like the coffee at the automat. Nothing fancy or pretentious like today. You have to understand they had no latte grande, no quizzical baristas in your way. There was nothing like the coffee at the automat. You would find a seat, hang up your coat and hat, and for just a shiny nickel, your taste buds you could tickle with that wonderful, magnificent, unbelievable, awesome coffee at the automat.
I would say to people, do you know Edmund Muybridge? I go, the name kind of rings a bell. You say, he did the horses, that strip of horses that are galloping, and they go, oh yeah, Edmund Muybridge. And then you tell them the story, and they are.
Will the defendant please stand? Kempton Bunton, you were charged that on the 21st of March 1961, you stole from the National Gallery a priceless portrait of the Duke of Wellington by Francisco José de Goya.
Not very good, is it?
We're convinced that the Goya has been stolen by a highly professional, international criminal gang.
Mind your boomers!
Almost certainly a trained commando.
You all right? Bitter biscuit. One problem.
What's that?
Your mother. I can explain.
I'm shaken.
It's the shock.
Shock? Yes, I'm shocked. There's a stolen masterpiece in my wardrobe.
What's he actually asking for? £140,000. For what? Charity. Good grief.
I'm living with a madman.
I'm tackling social injustice. I'm like Robin Hood.
You're an idiot.
The taxpayer paid for that painting. They could have given thousands to war widows and pensioners. It's for the greater good of mankind.
Mankind? What about your own kind? How long will you get?
I don't know. 10 years.
You could have told me. We could have dealt with it together.
You married young.
I had to marry.
Had to marry.
It was love.
He is not a thief. He borrowed your Goya to do a bit of good in this world. You campaign for pensioners and war veterans.
Every time someone gets cut off from the rest of us, this country becomes a foot shorter. All my life I've looked out for other people and got into trouble for it. But I had faith. Not in God, but in people.
How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Yes! For those unfamiliar with court proceedings, that was the plea, not the verdict.
I remember well my very first sip of wine. I didn't like it.
You've got these guys, they get uprooted from their own country, forced over the border into a foreign country. No knowledge of wine. What do they end up doing?
It's crazy to think we're gonna be competing in a few weeks at the World Tasting Championships. A few years ago, none of us had ever tasted wine before.
Joseph, Marvin, Tinashe, Van Pardon, Team Zimbabwe. It's like the Olympics of wine tasting.
The wine could come from anywhere in the world.
It's extremely difficult.
It's like Egypt putting together a team of skiers to go and compete in the Winter Olympics.
And then it just snowballed.
Now we have a coach. He was once the best wine taster in the world.
Bonjour!
Crazy character?
I do what I want.
Do you think you can irritate?
Oh, immediately.
The odds are stacked against him.
We're going to make history.
In Zimbabwe, there was only the rich and the poor.
7 million people face starvation.
I couldn't let my family starve. Luckily, we made it into South Africa, but we almost died.
You try to explain it to someone else, they won't understand you.
Our journey is tattooed in our hearts. It's difficult to take it off.
Some of the most incredibly wonderful minds don't fit where we think they belong.
We're proud to welcome you because you're the best palates in the world.
Looking in my life and where I've come from and where I've been,
Mama, I love you all.
I think I actually do believe in destiny. This is where my heart is, and this is where my heart will always be.
The phone rings. How would you like to be title in the film Fiddler on the Roof? And I put it down and screamed like, ah!
Cut! All right, hold it there.
Arthur Krim looked at me and he says, "What would you say if we were to say, we want you to direct Fiddler on the Roof?" And then I said, "What would you say if I told you I'm a goy?" Taking a play and bringing it out into the real world, it's always a challenge for a director.
Bringing Fiddler to the big screen was certainly one of my great challenges. Jewison is one of the few directors who understood that. He had fantastic sense of rhythm musically.
John Williams managed to harness my singing and almost make the verse that I do with the shawl kind of ballad-like. Matchmaker, matchmaker, I'll bring the veil.
It's not just about a dairyman with 5 marriageable daughters. It's more than that. There's something else that gives these shows their power.
I found it was quite possible for me to identify with Tevye and to identify with the Jewish religion.
Over 1 billion people saw the film, so they couldn't all be Jewish.
Getting to know the actresses who played my sisters brought us close together, which gives you the sense of family.
The girls were my family. They were my sisters.
During the wedding scene, Ross was just following through an instinct to give me a hug.
Even in a musical comedy like Fiddler on the Roof, you still feel the pain. And I think that's, that's the heart of the thing.
We want a film for everybody.
And what is it about the fiddler and the fiddle that we can't let go of? It's the closest thing to a human voice that there is. That's a fiddle. That's worth the price of a ticket.
When the Lord say move, feel like some fire get under your foot. You just can't sit still. You gonna holler, you're gonna jump, whatever comes forth, you do it. And it makes me feel all light. Just feel like I take wings and fly.
belong to a noisy crew, shouting and footstepping and clapping and praising the Lord. A church gospel noisy crew.
You got to trust him and give him time. Oh, no matter how long it takes.
Even as a small child, I saw pianos in my sleep. I think that was a message from God.
Cause he's worried. He may not come when you want him, but he's right on time.
We didn't do Come By Here, Good Lord, did we?
We have not done that one yet.
Yeah, that one was about Victory Is Mine. Yeah. And the other one, I Don't Feel No Ways Tired. Because I'm still bumping.
That's right.
We see ourselves as artists first. Disability is a part of our artistry. It's a part of who we are.
This is what I do.
We're as important as any other artist.
Walking is not the thing.
Do you mind parking a little bit over so I can get out?
The thing that is the hardest is rolling out into the world and having the judgments about that identity of disability imposed on you. It's why I'm so passionate about changing that narrative around disability, that we are about life.
Why should we stick in a cookie cutter, child-friendly little box to make other people comfortable in of what they think disabled people should be?
We're going to show the world that we are meant to be taken seriously.
We have to do great. We got to knock it out of the park, right? Think about that.
We're going to have a rockin' good time.
Love each other, love the audience, and 1, 2, 3, 7.
First and foremost, we're actors, we're performers.
Samuel,
Sam.
come closer. Turn around.
What?
I want to take a look at you.
Sarah's going to need your help. I have to sort out Ruth's trust in England. She's your mother. But you're going to help look after her, whether you like it or not.
The main thing is her leg. I just need your help with moving her, really. Keeping her company.
Believe me, this is far more humiliating for me than it is for you. Gin to here, water to here, and a squeeze of lemon.
So how much is an alcoholic drink anyway? 2 cases in 2 weeks? Oh, that's impressive.
Yes. Don't ever water it down.
Do you like another shot?
Seems I've run out of ammunition. I'm surprised you've sent him away to boarding school. He always said it ruined your life.
Keeps him out of trouble.
Why did you come here? I'd have some small talk first.
You have a broken leg and you and Dad hate each other.
No, I don't hate him.
She was really there, on the front lines, taking photos.
She looks like she's had a lot of fun.
I think we should have a party.
Oh, guess the word got around.
You sound like my kind of people.
What do you want?
One more passionate love affair.
I should never have allowed her into our lives. She'll go back eventually.
That would be a shame.
Most people like sunsets. I love the sunrise.
I had a draw to Boulder. Boulder's a beautiful city. I came to Nairobi University to begin my life.
You have a dangerous object in your hand and you're failing to put it down. Put it down. You're being detained. Your hand is on your weapon and you're gonna shoot me?
There's a reason why I didn't comply, you know, and it was because I had not committed a crime.
I told you many times to put it down.
And you're holding a gun!
Put it down.
And you're holding a gun!
The city manager and police chief say this March 1st incident does not reflect the city's values. The city has been working on racial equality for a number of years.
I'm a business owner, I own property, I did everything you've asked of me, and you gave me nothing.
It goes back to our founding. Boulder was established with building lots costing $1,000 to make it an exclusive place.
The first African Americans lived usually on the fringes of the community because it was the cheapest land in town. Boulder did have an active Ku Klux Klan, and there were cross burnings as late as the 1940s.
It was a small but strong African American community when we arrived back in 1969. This was my home. Many of the young African Americans that I have encountered during my 50 years in Boulder have left Boulder.
The happiest place in America is Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder, Colorado. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with weed. Nothing. That is the most annoying thing about Boulder, is that Boulder thinks it's better than everywhere else on Earth.
People like it here. They're comfortable. Everyone else looks like them. Everyone else perceives the world the way they do. And so if people don't see it as a problem, then there's going to be no efforts to change something that they're fine with.
I think that we have to call into question the conception of beautifying Boulder. Even if it's not conscious, if we keep raising the prices, if we keep raising the taxes, if we keep doing all these kinds of things, you're obviously going to box some folks out. So then it becomes institutional racism, even if it didn't start out that way.
Drop the weapon!
It's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh, now I'm gonna leave because you think I don't belong here. You know, it's like, nah, I'm here. I feel like that's how racism has always been overcome.
This entire world has changed. Like, there is no going back. The capacity is here if we stick with it.
If you really had the good intention, you'd step back and let us lead, and then you would play a supporting role.
Sei grisa. Il tuo corpo si dimenticherà.
Voglio dargli un nome.
Non posso.
Signore, abbi pietà di quest'anima perdurata al limbo.
Lena accesa, dopo sveglia potente sui morti. Un respiro, e ti batterai.
Čemu ti klamiš tu? Agata. Anin. Tu hai i denti. Basta! Basta! Muoviti! Wow! Certo sto da Tony, che tu te stai d'accordo.
culi meritati che smerati.
People process trauma in different ways.
Each piece makes a K, so that stands for Knights of the Ku Klux Klan.
We are here as one family. We are here as brothers and sisters.
My family was been killed because of hate.
Clarkston is a small town in the middle of the South. It looks like a United Nations refugee camp. Hate is a disease, and we just need to make sure there's no space for hate to grow.
White power!
Fire!
I started hating Muslims when I watched that footage on 9/11.
The number of attacks prescribed to right-wing extremists is only on the increase.
No, stop, please. Let's talk to him first. Stop.
I told him, I said, it's me and these kids, or the Klan. Love you.
It's very hard to hate something you know. So if you hate Muslim and you've never met Muslims, how would you one day stop hating Muslims?
That heightened alert kicked in. It's like danger.
Hey, Chris, are you ready for the blind date?
ما بدي حتى تفكر على الكبار.
فهمتي؟
فوتوا جوا يا جرموطة. صيتوا لحيوان؟ شرطيتي داعش تعجبك.
كنا اضطرينا نكب التلفزيونات.
الكتب!
Some people just adore martinis. Others love iced tea. In Venice, they all go for Bellinis. But coffee, that's for me. I've tasted every kind of brew at every coffee shop.
As a boy, I was mystified. I became a merchant the day that I was in that automat.
But this one was the top.
There was all kinds of people, poor people to matrons in furs.
There was nothing like the coffee at the automat.
Hide the silverware, here come the actors.
It was right near the theaters, and the food was so fresh.
From a silver dolphin spout, the coffee poured right out. Not to mention, at the end, a little spurt of cream. There was nothing like the coffee at the automat.
I love those little windows that opened, and sometimes what you wanted was missing, and you knocked on the window, waved to the person with.
You have to understand they had no latte grande, no quizzical baristas in your way.
Life changes, things change, we all get a little older, but the older you get, the more you reflect back on what came in the beginning, the Horn and Hardits and the automats of the world.
And for just a shiny nickel, your taste buds you could tickle with that wonderful, magnificent, unbelievable, awesome coffee at the automat. Use everything I've said. I'm popular, I'm famous. Make me the spearhead of selling this Meshuggah documentary.
We are going to win.
Quit making national heroes out of those who steal secrets and publish them in the newspaper.
The hundreds of thousands we were killing was unjustified homicide, and I couldn't see the difference between that and murder. Murder had to be stopped.
This weekend, portions of a highly classified Pentagon document came to light for all the world to see and brought cries of outrage from Washington. We gotta get this son of a bitch.
Yes, Kennedy did send in troops in violation of the Geneva Accord. Johnson did start the buildup before he said he was going to. These guys were lying through their teeth when they were talking to us. And here it is in black and white. There's no way of denying it.
The Times building is encircled by armed guards. We are printing tomorrow a top-secret government document.
A name has now come out as the possible source of the Times Pentagon documents. It is that of Daniel Ellsberg, the top policy analyst for the Defense and State Department.
I am prepared to answer to all the consequences of these decisions.
Henry Kissinger said that Daniel Ellsberg was the most dangerous man in America, and he had to be stopped.
The study was 47 volumes, 7,000 pages. It would take me months of Xeroxing.
We've dropped another 200,000 tons of bombs on Indochina. That's 10 Hiroshimas, 1 Hiroshima a week.
What has remained significant about the release of the Pentagon Papers is the decision by a public official to give priority to conscience as compared to career.
Daniel Ellsberg, whatever his intentions, gave aid and comfort to the enemy.
It was a crime from the start, carried out by 4 presidents, and now a 5th president was doing the same. I'm not going to be part of this system of lying anymore. It wasn't that we were on the wrong side. We were the wrong side.
Food is a weapon. When you sell real weapons, you control armies. When you control food, you control society. But when you control seed, you control life on Earth. Industrial farming is the single biggest destructive force on the planet today. The war against the Earth begins in the minds of men. And I mean men.
Vandana Shiva is one of the most prominent activists in the world.
Oh my God, he's a hero.
This is Vandana Shiva. I'm Van as a part of Bandana.
She's a warrior to the patriarchal system that destroys.
Vandana was one of the pioneers who started the global seed movement.
Owning intellectual property right on seed is a pathetic attempt at seed dictatorship. We started to fight GMOs through growing seeds and saving seeds.
She does knowingly make statements which are clearly inaccurate and incorrect.
Demonizes modern agriculture.
The organic elite.
Anyone who's going to stand up to big corporations is going to come under attack.
40% of the solution to climate change lies in organic, ecological farming in the hands of small farmers.
Today, one of the big movements is around regenerative agriculture.
We have the power, we will change, and we will be the change we want to see, and no one is going to stop us.
Bandana Shiva is Monsanto's worst nightmare.
We will not be stopped. We have a duty to save seeds.
Little old lady from India. Oh, why does she drive you nuts?
Er det karaoke?
Tælleren kun i weekenden. 500 kroner for en sang. Du må da virkelig elske karaoke.
Jeg vil bare gerne synge for min dame. Trine. Den her, den er til dig, og du ved godt hvorfor. Little things I should have said.
Elvis. Det er time to leave the building.
Jeg går ikke, før jeg sunger.
Vi er naturmennesker. Og det som vi har livet av i førjen, det er naturen. Han personer som bor i sånn ekvislig omkvarve, han ankersvekna vil avvarska av det.
There has to be something that disturbs, that makes it different.
We're focusing on what we have around us, and a big part of that is whales. I know that that is a very controversial thing to serve.
He's a bit crazy.
He likes to create dishes that have a story.
One line goes to jump, basically. Really? Yeah.
It's very theatrical in a way.
Jeg visste ikke om skulle trykke det. Kjoltsamt.
Photography is about appreciating the world, to find an image which speaks a universal language.
Steve McCurry, photographer of the famous Afghan girl. Well, that will be his obituary.
This is, I'm Steve McCurry, just in case you were wondering.
Steve is a bit of an enigma. Part of his social wisdom is invisibility.
What's his name? Rex. Hey, Rex.
Every picture that a photographer takes is in some sense a self-portrait. By the time Steve was born, my mother was already getting sick.
There was a wound in the family.
That was the first family cataclysm. It made him extremely tough.
I never for a moment wanted to be a war photographer.
Why in the world would you choose to venture into such a god-awful situation?
What is my job? Capture images that say something about humanity, about its contradictions. Next thing I saw was this little girl with these incredible eyes.
About what is truth in photography?
Afghan girl under fire.
If he can make the picture a little bit better, he'll do it.
I'm not a news photographer. I see myself more as an artist. I hope my pictures communicate, period.
He didn't care about any of the niceties, the luxuries, or the comforts.
He had no friends. He had no one helping him.
I've dedicated my life to pursuing color, to express the beauty of diversity. I can't imagine spending my life in any other way.
¡Hijo de puta! ¡Hijo de puta! ¡No me vais a pillar, hijo de puta! ¡Soy basura, hijo de puta!
Debido a una incidencia, permaneceremos parados unos minutos. Disculpe las molestias. Attack!
Russia.
Oh. Base.
10 females to each male.
Coca-Cola machine.
Fluids. The Doomsday Machine.
Blast off!
Where's my shorts?
Where's the bathroom?
Buck, should I get it?
On the hotline.
Dr. Strangelove.
Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and
Love the bomb. A moving picture.
I shouldn't tell you this, Mandrake, but you're a good officer and you have a right to know. It looks like we're in a shooting war.
Hell. All the Russians involved, sir?
Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Nuclear combat toe-to-toe with the Ruskies.
I don't like the look of this, Fred. All right, tell you what you better do, old buddy.
I was under the impression that I was the only one in authority to order the use of nuclear weapons.
That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so. And although I hate to judge before all the facts are in, it's beginning to look like General Ripper exceeded his authority.
I first became aware of it, Mandrake, during the physical act of love.
Missile still deflecting. Range 1 mile. Start lever to cut off. Cut off. Station power.
Has that plane really got a chance of getting through?
Well, sir, if the pilot's good, see, I mean, if he's really sharp, he can barrel that baby in so low. I mean, you ought to see it sometime. It's a sight. A big plane like a 52. Vroom! It's jet exhaust frying chickens in the barnyard.
Dr. Strangelove.
Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and
Love the bomb. A moving picture.
I'm just a child.
Today you have rock star chefs. Juliet's the first.
I think I love you.
Julia had these kind of romantic dreams for what her life might be. She was really pining for adventure.
I did want to be a spy, and I thought I'd be a very good one.
She never looked back.
As soon as I got into France and realized what it was all about, one taste of that food, and I never got over it. I decided that I would enroll in the Cordon Bleu.
Cooking was a world of men.
Women were basically part of the window dressing.
You certainly didn't see them teaching.
I'm Julia Child. Welcome to the French chef.
She changed everything.
She really knew what she was doing. Terrific technique.
She just seemed so unpretentious.
Well, that didn't go very well.
She was giving you this opportunity to say, don't be afraid of failure.
And here it is.
When you cook, you give your love. God knows it's a love affair with Paul.
Julia's advice for a good marriage was the 3 F's. Feed your man, flatter your man, and you had to your man.
Julia Child presents the Chicken Sisters.
They were sort of easing her out. She said, forget it, I'm done. And she quit.
Julia was a dynamic force that would not be silenced.
Darling, we're going to have so much fun.
Julia was more than a cook. She was a cultural force. She changed America.
We need to tell how important this woman is, was, will be.
You could say Julia, and everybody knew it was Julia Child.
This is Julia Child. Bon appetit.
嗰陣時喺大陸，個個後生仔都想偷到。快啲！我哋個個都聽講話，香港係一個有自由嘅地方。快啲啊！係好危險嘅，亦都唔係好多人走得甩。
One of the skills Yoshinori has perfected is the art of sashimi. If you watch him slicing, you will see his hands run over the fish and actually feel it before he even puts a blade to it. So he has a real sense of how the fish feels before he starts the slice. And then he slices it in a way that will be the most tender. And that is the sign of real ability.
魚のフィレによってその時の鮮度によってその時の質によってその魚が海流の強いところに住んでたかよどんでたところに住んでたかその密質が違うのを目と手とその感覚で全て感じ取った上で一回一回ずつ切り分けなければいけない。
Óscar Camps, sois unos socorristas de Badalona, lleváis meses en Lesbos, nadie os ha contratado, nadie os paga por esto. ¿Hasta cuándo vais a seguir?
Cuando no seamos necesarios nos vamos. Hay que ir. Hay que ir a Lesbos.
¿Cómo que te vas? ¿Cómo que te vas a Lesbos? Hay que echar una mano a los socorristas griegos.
Mañana en el primer vuelo nos vamos.
No, no nos vamos.
Óscar, me lo prometiste 2 días.
Pero yo cómo iba a saber que las cosas estaban así. Me quedo aquí a hacer nuestro trabajo. ¿Qué me has traído a esta? Me acoge la bolsa y te llevo al aeropuerto.
¿Pero que eres el dueño de la isla ya?
Soy tu padre.
Ah, coño, es que como a veces se me olvida.
Joder, qué cerca está Turquía, ¿eh? ¿Cuántos pueden cruzar?
al día. ¿Cuántos?
Hasta 3.000. Esto no es como lo que has hecho hasta ahora.
Oscar, estoy preparada.
Pero si ayudáis a los que vienen, quizá vengan más.
Yo soy un socorrista, nada más. La ley del mar dice que hay que proteger la vida, que no hay que dejar un náufrago a la deriva. Y eso es lo que nosotros hacemos. Nada más y nada menos.
No one invited these people. No one invited you.
¿Que nos deja usarlas?
¿Usarlas para qué?
¿Cómo para qué? Tú viniste aquí por una foto.
Que esto es una crisis humanitaria, que nos viene grande, Oscar.
No somos el equipo de élite que vaya a solucionar esto. Esto es así.
Mira, que yo vine aquí para ayudarte, gilipollas, a protegerte.
¿Protegerme de qué?
De ti, tío.
¿Y qué dirías a quienes cuestionan lo que estáis haciendo?
Just an inspiration that I'm searching for, like a sailor across the ocean seeking to explore, like a never-ending battle.
It was said somewhere along the line, beware of a movement that sings, because that's the music is what lifts everything.
I want you to take out everybody in those fields.
Said he lived his life with farm workers.
Senor Chavez, his dreams, his hopes, his desires, his work will live as long as we who are alive keep it alive.
Big boss man, can you hear me when I call?
The relationship between the owners and the people doing the work was appalling to me. If something that I could do to help, raise money, bring awareness, well, then it was. It was time not to eat grapes. Grapes did not get eaten.
I've always been the happiest when I was doing activism and music at the same time. I think the deciding factor in whether you're going to make real social change or not is risk. Are you willing to take a risk? And the farm workers took the risks.
They don't care whether they're stripes, and as long as they're Mexicans, they're stopping him and beating him up in the streets.
Came across your border just to work for you.
It's a fight. Hard-working people have to fight for every scrap, for every dollar in this world.
I have two wings. In this wing, it was B.B. King and Tito Puente, John Lee Hooker, Miles Davis. And on this hand was Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X, and the Black Panthers. And to me, it was always about doing this with the music.
Music has always been part of our history as far as our Mexican roots. The corrido goes all the way back to, the Mexican Revolution of 1910.
We use music for the movement, and that's where we got a lot of money to continue doing our work,
And just the whole idea of bringing rock musicians behind a movement, it was a very effective thing.
Up to California.
Music is important to affairs of the heart. As soon as I knew that it was Cesar and that it was for the farm workers, I was committed.
And what will you be given to your brown-eyed children?
We as artists had a purpose, and that purpose was to be faithful to its audience and to bring our stories, our theater, our plays, our music to the people, because that's where it belonged.
Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. And you cannot stamp out a people's cause.